What is going on? You are watching Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. I'm your host, Steve V. And if you're listening to this as this gets repackaged, this is episode, can you believe it, 250? Wow.
What?
I don't know if I said it already. I'm your host, Steve V, alongside Cody Maurice Doggett. How the hell are you?
Hello, darling. I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Really, really good. Really, really good. Just turning up my volume to get into the mix. On this episode, we're really excited. A little bit later in the show, we have got Jacob and Harley, who we were talking about we've been talking about them on a previous episode. We were thirsting after them. And after Jacob, and then we discovered it's Jacob and Harley, and then when we discovered that, we were all about them, and we all concurred that they need to come on the show. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a lot. This is our Wednesday night live show that pushes out to our YouTube channel, our Facebook channel, and you get to ask questions. Get your questions ready for Jacob and Harley a little bit later in the show. But first things first, Cody, thanks again for doing TAGSPodcast episode 249 earlier in the week.
Oh, it was my pleasure, of course. You know, I always love hanging out with you guys.
It was a lot of fun. We had a great time having you over there. So thanks for doing that. On a recent podcast that you were on, you were thirsting after Alex Beresford out in London. He's the weatherman who stood up to Piers Morgan for calling him out for the Meghan Markle interview for being essentially saying racist remarks. And he came out later as having like this really hot body, which Alex Beresford, right? And you said,
it's so funny you put it like he's coming out as having this hot body.
Exactly, really hot. And you called him, he could be my baby daddy, no problem, which I thought was really hot. Well, this week I thought, if anybody is not following Lenny Kravitz, you need to just follow him right now, because at age 56, he has the thirstiest picture of the week. He could be my straight baby daddy in a heartbeat. And do you have the picture, or should I all post?
It was mine first.
Oh no, you didn't. You got. I'm putting it in the comment section. Everybody can look at it. You get Alex Beresford. I get Lenny Kravitz.
I'm like a Pokemon. I got to catch them all.
Oh, yeah, you guys. Little known fact about Cody Maurice Doggett is that he's a big superheroes fan, and he has some questions.
Yes, I am.
You got some questions for Jacob and Harley about superheroes as something that they filmed, so we can't wait for that. All right, well, let's get into hot topics before we get into our first segment, Vulnerable Voices. And in this week's hot topics, I could not help but talk about the life-size super gay Barbie. Oh, yeah. There's a gay choreographer, you guys, and he's a painter. He picked up acclaim for his latest artistic offering, turning himself into, quote, super gay Barbie. Gunnar Montana, he's based in Philadelphia. He's a dancer, performance artist whose work has appeared in numerous festivals around the country. According to his website, he specializes in visual art installations, prop-based choreography, set design, costume design. You get the picture. Gunnar's also picked up and he's picked up a large social media following with his off-the-wall creations. Well, recently, he posted a video of his latest project. Together with collaborator Colin Burke, he turned himself into a very special Barbie doll, and he really looks amazing. So I could put this in the comment section, but essentially, he's got bright red hair, right, Cody?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like he created the box, you know, the
right?
Yeah. So like the Barbie box where, if you bought a Barbie All right, gays, come on, support me here. And you know how, like, if it was Malibu Barbie, she might come with like suntan oil and a beach towel and a duffel bag.
You know what Barbie comes with.
Or
You know what
roller
Barbie.
skating Barbie, and she would come Kimber or something like that, and she would come with roller skates. I'm going way back, but he did such an excellent job, in my opinion, of creating this artistic installation of him looking like he's in a box that you would buy.
Yeah.
And let me describe it as best I can. And Cody, you jump in at any time. But
Okay.
you know, if you were to buy a Barbie, it would be in that plastic box, and he's standing perfectly like a Barbie doll.
Straight up.
And
he's in heels.
He's in platform heels. He's in an iridescent thong with straps that go all the way up with a built-in corset. Then, if that wasn't enough, his accessories include everything from a fan, because he's got to go to the club, the phone on the wall that's got Grinder opened up. He's got a blonde yellow bright wig that's with bangs, of course. He's got his sneakers for working out because, of course, he's wearing heels right now. He's got a dildo, which I love, that's huge, with a condom on it, and a cleaning out syringe, which is, of course, his douche kit. He's got a little.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
I didn't see that
girl,
part.
look it up.
There it is.
A little.
It's a bulb. It's a douche bulb. That is awesome.
And lastly, of course, two things: his passport, his purple passport with a ticket. A Barbie ticket, because of course he's always traveling, right? And lastly, a little pink backpack that would carry all of these accessories to go along with him. Wouldn't you have?
And I read that it's a ticket to Puerto Vallarta. That ticket that he has in his passport.
My favorite place. You got
it's perfect.
You've got to love it. I love it so much. I think it's so cliche, so funny, such a great installation, such a commentary on our gay culture. And I don't know, Cody, did you want to play with Barbies when you were a kid? Because I did. And of course, I wasn't able to, but I did with my friend, my gymnastic friend. And when I would go to stay with his house, because he was a little bit more freer, and we would go to his girlfriend's houses and we would get to play with Barbies, but I would always feel shame for it. But imagine if it was today and we could play with this gay, boy Barbie doll.
I mean, I already want to play with him, but that's neither here nor there. But for different reasons, more adult reasons.
That don't go into the Mattel, the living situation. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure. But I did play with Barbies growing up. I stole them from my sister.
I love it.
And I put them in various positions, in compromising positions. I know, right?
Wow.
I was too grown when I was a kid. So, yeah, it was a good time. And she doesn't know what I did already. So, and now she's going to listen to this and she's going to know that I played around with her Barbie. Yeah.
Hey, hopefully it'll only bring you closer. All right, we got one more hot gay sex topic to talk about here. Tinder, you guys, will soon let you run a background check on a potential date. So Tinder and other Match Group owned apps are going to let their users run background checks on possible dates. The company announced an investment in Garbo, which is a nonprofit that looks to allow people to run background checks with only their first name and phone number or full name. The investment, of which Match didn't disclose the amount, will help make the group's tech available to Match's users, starting with the company's most popular app, Tinder. So this means that Tinder users will be able to vet their dates with details like their arrest record or history of violence that could dramatically affect who finds success on the apps and who doesn't. So Garbo says it collects public records and reports of violence or abuse, including arrests, convictions, restraining orders, harassment, and other violent crimes. And its website says it accepts manually submitted police reports, orders, or of protection. That's important, restraining orders and other legal documents that report abuse, harassment, or other crimes. So, Cody, I think the first thing I thought about this is, it's high time that these apps, it made me think of two things. It made me think of, we think we're such in this digital age, but a lot of this stuff has only been around for the last 10 years, maybe even 5 in a lot of ways. And a lot of this, people are not vetted properly. We go into these things, it's technology. It seems like it's been around forever, but it really hasn't. And if we were to jump over the counterpart of Tinder, of what a lot of us LGBTQ people use, like Grindr, which is always in the news, or even Scruff, but particularly Grindr, where so many hate crimes have been happening and violent acts against our LGBTQ people under that app. Do you think that this is something that Grindr and Scruff should pick up?
Oh, definitely. And I went through all the emotions reading the story. At first, it sounded great to me because I think it's horrible that people get attacked when they go and meet people on these apps. But then I read that the individual parties were going to be able to read the arrest records, which kind of, I don't want anybody knowing my credit score or anything like that. I don't want them to know my business. But then it went to criminal records and things of that nature. And I've got back on board again because it was all about protecting yourselves from people that would want to take advantage of you. So that's why I'm all for it.
Yeah, it sounds like a positive thing. And by the way, when you're on a lot of Facebook and they're sharing your information, whether you like it or not. This is something that would get criminal records into the mix. So things that are lascivious and share. You don't have a criminal record, as far as I know, Cody Moore. So you don't have anything to worry about.
Not that you know of.
You don't have anything to worry about. It would only ping and target those that do have those. And with the amount of violent crimes and death that are happening to people within our community, to me, this is only a good thing that could help. Grindr is such under fire all the time. We report on this podcast in the last 4 years so many crimes that have happened and occurred to our LGBTQ plus world that have really not ended well. And I think this could only help. But one thing that we've always talked about on this show is when you, particularly these days, but I would say always, have a buddy system in place. So in other words, Cody, you could be my buddy. All right, I'm telling you now, you're one of my buddies.
All right.
That if
I'm willing to take that on.
That if I end up meeting somebody later on tonight, because I'm excited that Jacob and Harley are on the show, but I'm all hot and bothered.
They got you in the mood.
That I'm going to hook up with somebody, that I might let you know that the address that I'm going to, and let you know that I'm going to ping you when I get to that, just to let you know that everything's okay. If you don't get that in 45 minutes or so, but you got the address and even the phone number, then you know to start texting away. This is nothing more simple than a buddy system that could save people's life. And I say that not lightly. I say that because so many people have lost their lives by this situation. And there's a reason why Tinder has gone to create this background check, and it's not for nothing. It's not to take it lightly. We need to be looking out for ourselves. There's hate crimes happening left and right and around us. And wake up, people. True. Sorry to get on my soapbox, but it's a real thing.
Yeah, it's true.
You got nothing?
No, because I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that you should definitely have a buddy. Even cut on your location for your friend, and that way they can know where you are, at least for the duration of the date, because you control how long you want to share your location with them. So do that, and then be as safe and as knowledgeable and cognizant of that there are people out there that might want to harm you. So yeah, especially in this
Absolutely.
age that we were just talking about on the on Instagram, how hate crimes are on the rise, especially for our Asian counter
Yes, our Asian American
people out there.
counterparts.
So yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that one more time. Absolutely. We gotta keep saying it. It's time to move on though. And a little bit later, coming up in our third segment, we've got Jacob and Harley, but not yet, because right
not almost.
now, almost, but right now we've got our weekly segment where we get a little deeper. And on this week's segment, we call it Vulnerable Voices. Every week, we started it last summer. It's where we get a little deeper and look into our LGBTQ sexuality. It was stemmed from an article, Cody, that I sent you, which
Okay.
is written by Corey Andrew. It's described as survey finds rampant internalized homophobia among gay and bisexual men. It may or may not
Yeah.
be what you think. I'll just read you a little bit about it. Gay men have long been conflicted in society over the negative stigma associated with male femininity. Being a quote unquote femme can quickly get you ostracized in heterosexual circles, and that is nothing new. But a recent study published in the Trends in Psychology reveals that in our gay community, LGBT community, I would even expand it to, there's potentially as much disdain for the perception of femininity in, well, in this case, gay men, as there is
Mm-hmm.
among femphobic straight people. I'm inclined to agree with this assessment, needing to look no further than Grindr and Scruff profiles of self-described masculine men who openly declare, quote, no femmes. The writer goes on to say that I have often surmised that gay bashers and straight homophobes are battling their own demons with each attack they inflict. In this newly published study, analysts share troubling survey results that suggest pervasive, quote, negative attitudes regarding effeminacy and internalized homophobia among gay men, bisexual men, and other men who engage in same-sex relations. So given this association, many people draw between sexuality and religion and morality. It is no wonder that such conflicts exist in gay men. The article goes on, I'll put it on TAGSPodcast.com, but the first thing, Cody, that I thought of and to make it part of our vulnerable voices and part of internalized homophobia was the recent report that the Pope came out that he does not support same-sex marriage unions. And
Wow.
my first thought when I thought that is like, who cares? Who's really, I went to Catholic school.
Mm-hmm.
Catholicism
As
was
did I.
drilled in me. I'm a Latino, but I've since moved on. I'm spiritual now. I don't practice Catholicism. However, I was listening to an interview with Kaylee Rice. She's a lesbian country performer, and she was talking
Mm-hmm.
about the actual trauma that it can actually do, not just for us LGBTQ people to hear that the Pope does not support unions, but what it does to our circles. So in other words, your family members, your
Yes.
aunts and uncles, the circles around your periphery that
Yeah.
could get you not, I mean, I'm using you as an example, but could get you as someone like us to think, oh my gosh, if people don't support this within my orbit, I'm nervous. There's trauma there. I'm now
Or you're going to be
worried I'm going
ostracized.
to be
Yes.
ostracized. It does
Yeah.
nothing but bring more hatred, which we are only talking about this in this show about Stop Asian Hate. There's so much hatred going on right now. Did we really need the Pope to come out right now, Cody, and say
He
this?
definitely did not. And what it says to me is that the Catholic Church does not care about gay lives at all, because if they did, they wouldn't have made this statement. Like, keep that under your hat.
Yeah.
And it also says to me that they think that our love isn't as substantial or as important as heterosexual love, which I refuse to believe. That's something that I will never agree with. I think that, you know, our love, gay love, is just and as important in our community and in our society as heterosexual love, because love is love after all, right?
And it means a lot too. To it's one thing if the Pope doesn't come on and say anything of it. He's been actually pretty
Yeah,
supportive at times for
especially in the past. Yeah,
this current Pope. But when he does come out in 2021 with, it seems a little tone deaf in so many ways, to not look at what, knowing his power. And we talk about our platform here, we get scrutinized when we say something on our podcast after 4 years of podcasting. Don't get me started. I mean, we get scrutinized if we say something that it doesn't sit well with people. You can imagine the platform that the Pope has. And with so much hatred going on and dissidence going on with race relations and sexuality, that why would this be the right time to say that? Why did he choose to say that now? Because it's not a,
I really don't know.
yeah,
It's so
and it
sad.
does not do anything good to, and yeah, but this article about, we got to talk about the article that it stemmed from about
Yeah.
homophobia and internalized homophobia. And I know you had some notes that we were talking offline, but what did you want to tell us?
Oh, for sure. So before we move on to that, you mentioned about how the Pope affects our circle. And I do want to tell you that I brought this up to my uncle right before we came on. And he actually said to me, and I'm going to quote, I'm going to read it.
Yes.
He said that that message you have to get directly from the source. And that made me so hopeful. He's like, you don't need to get it from an intermediate like the Pope, because whomever you believe in, whatever source you believe in, that's love is love to him. So just stay steadfast in that.
I think that's so important, and I agree with that. And I think the only issue that made me think about it a little bit differently was when we don't realize, like Kaylee Wright, country music singer, said that we can feel strongly about where we're at with everything, but it's when somebody as monumental and powerful as the Pope says something that disseminates out to morality and people's religious backgrounds. We all have people in our family that are religious, that it can cause dissidence towards that. Like, we didn't need that. You know what I mean? Yes, love is love.
I agree with you. And I didn't want to discount any of that. I just wanted to share what my own uncle, somebody in my family, said to me.
I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So we were talking about our own struggles with internalized homophobia, and it's something that I deal with all the time. It's not quite as grand as me lashing out towards other gay people that are more feminine than me, but it's something that, but there are other ways that it comes out, right? It could be if you self-harm or shaming, working out excessively, that if to appear more masculine, that's a reflection of the society and how you want to emulate what's socially acceptable in society.
It's funny you say that, because really we were talking, I think, even before we're going to start a Clubhouse. If anybody doesn't know Clubhouse, it's this new thing that, not even that new, it's late last year, but we're going to start a Clubhouse room soon. And one of the things we were talking about is the extension of how we're going to do that. And I think it is going to be about sex positivity. And I think when you talk about sex positivity, you talk about, I think you and I were talking about the shame that I used to have just being a gay man. And it's funny that you mentioned right now working out, and how we work out to appear a certain masculine way. I totally do that. This article,
me too.
This article goes on to say things like, when we go on apps like, again, with the Scruff and the Grinder, things like no femmes, no mask for mask only, and these can be. I think the thing that I want to just say in a more simplistic way is that this show, doing it over 4 years, has made me feel really embrace my femininity, my masculinity, and know that I can go in and out of all of those at any point in time and not worry of what because last thing I'll say is, as a former actor, I had to play that role for so long in the Hollywood world in the early 2000s, and people wanted me to butch it up. They didn't say that, but they wanted me to do that. And I think doing this show, doing what I love now, it's like I can go into my masculine side now, into my feminine side, and I enjoy that kind of weaving.
Same here.
Yeah.
And like you said, doing this show has expanded my viewpoint on a lot of things. It was something I was coming to terms with before I started the show, of course. But again, doing this has expanded my view. But it even goes to more like, okay, so I can think of a time when someone would say, "Oh, you're not. I can't believe you're gay. You're so straight acting or whatever," and that would make me feel a sense of pride that I think is kind of misinformed or misguided, because and I look back on that person, I'm like, who was he? So it can come out in so many different ways.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff is deeply ingrained. And, I remember a few years back, we reported on a documentary called Do I Sound Gay? It's a great documentary, y'all. You should check it out. Do I Sound Gay? I think it's called Do I Sound Gay?
And
I think that's right. It's all of those perceptions that we have in ourselves, that if you're perceived a certain way, and what would that mean? And is that going to mean no one's going to accept me? It's such a great film. I highly recommend it. Put it on your list. I'll probably put the link up on TAGSPodcast.com. But have you ever worried, it's funny when we were talking about the guy that did that Barbie installation art piece. And in many ways, I feel, and it was all pink, and with his hair, he had some masculinity going on, but he had, like you said, the platform heels, the dildo with the condom on, the grinder open. It was very unapologetic in a ways, and I feel like it was definitely a nod and a wink to our crazy LGBTQ society, but it was also unapologetic.
It encompassed everything.
I had to kind of like praise him for doing that, because in a way it was masculine, it was feminine, it was all things, it was whatever you wanted him to be. And in some ways, and I don't know if he was even stating that, he was saying, and I can be many things as much as I can be me. I can be like Barbie's. You put on the backpack, you put on the wig.
Yeah.
He can be all of those things. It's
multifaceted.
Kind of cool to Did you ever have a hump where you had to get over that hump where you could just be everything and not just one, I need to be hyper masculine, or I have to be what this guy wants me to be, I have to be what my producers want me to be? I know you're a singer, Cody, so
So, and I think that all came to a head fairly recently, especially when the beginning of the pandemic happened last year. That all came crashing down on me, and I accepted more of who I was as a person. And I said to myself that everything that I am is okay, feminine, masculine, and otherwise in between. So, and all shades of me are beautiful.
I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Say your friend.
Jen says that the Pope was flip-flopping because he just excommunicated an African archbishop for being openly anti-gay. So that's kind of crazy.
He has. We were talking about that, and in the meantime, I want our guests right now, Jacob and Harley, to grab a spot, and when you're ready, as we continue this conversation on. But grab a spot when you're ready, and we welcome you. But I think that was my whole point. He can be everything and everything else. Hey there, hello. Can you hear us?
Yes, we got you here.
Awesome.
Hey guys.
All right. Well, you guys look fabulous. I love the look behind it. I know. We want to welcome our special guests, Jacob and Harley. You can follow them at Jacob and Harley 1 on Twitter, as well as on Instagram. And let me just introduce you really, guys, because the reason we learned about you guys was there's a site that does they did 28 thirst traps, porn thirst traps is how they labeled it on straight up gay porn. And Cody and I thought it would be a fun thing to do a couple weeks ago where we went through and I said, Cody, pick your favorite. But because we're an audio podcast, our job is to describe in descriptive terminology why we are thirsting after this one. So Cody picked his, I picked mine, and we did an after show where I picked the next favorite one, and it happened to be you, Jacob, because you were in there. And mainly, I mean, you looked very handsome. I think you were even in clothes in that picture. And then your huge, thick cock was just like larger than life that I could not even. And I was like, okay, now. And we tagged you for our after show. For those you guys want to join our after show, you can go to patreon.com/talk about gay sex and get the after show. It's always a lot of fun, right, Cody? But
oh yeah,
on that show, I was like, oh my God. I think my first question is, congratulations, Jacob, for being that thirst pig. Harley, when
they're on this week too.
Harley, when you first saw his huge dick, were you like, I can take that immediately, or I need to warm up, or what was your first thought?
Oh no, God, no. Actually, we were both tops when we started dating, which was like kind of weird.
What?
Yeah, we're that's crazy, right? Whoa. But yeah, I'd never taken a dick, period. And I looked at it and I was like, you should do porn. Like, what are you doing? Like, jokingly, And I look at
So
this now. Hey, Mom.
Two tops can make a right.
Yes.
Hey.
Turns out bottoming
I never
is
knew.
legit. Like, it's definitely fun.
Yeah.
Cody, go ahead. Yeah, I know you
actually since so.
All right, we're gonna go back and forth with our questions for you. We got
okay, yeah.
I bought several incrementally bigger dildos
in order to get ready. That's awesome. So you mentioned that you said to Jacob that you think he should be in porn. Do you have any advice for anybody, guys wanting to get into OnlyFans or anything like that?
I would highly recommend, like, I found that our best advertisement, like getting our face out there, has been camming for us. So like Chatterbait has been a huge support for us because we get like 3 to 6, sometimes 8,000 people in our room that are all seeing our face. They see our link, and that's like our best advertisement by far.
And our dicks.
Nice.
That's
your dicks.
Their calling card.
So like I would highly recommend just getting your face out there as much as you can, like Twitter, Instagram, and definitely streaming if you're open to it.
Yeah, for sure. And also like identify your boundaries like right away before you even go in there. Like, are you comfortable with people finding out? Because people will find out. Are you comfortable with having your body immortalized on the internet? There's all sorts of things that you have to take into consideration. Like, I would just talk with your friends, etc. It definitely can be really fun, and we're really blessed to live like the life we live. But obviously there are shortcomings and pitfalls to anything, especially this.
Harley, it's Harley,
it's your face out there.
Harley, it's so funny that you say you have to be willing for people to be able to that they may find out. And when we were having our pre-production meeting, we threw out a question that we thought, that's going to be so cliche, about asking them, do their family know? Because we didn't want to be that thing. But now that you brought it up, was two questions. When did you guys meet and start dating? And when did you guys decide to start doing this kind of content together? And then lastly, does your family know?
Yeah, for sure.
We've been together for almost 4 years now.
Wow.
And we've been streaming for 3 of them. So we had a year and we got together, and we were struggling there for a while. So it really helped out with the money because we blew up very quick, and we've loved every minute of it. Like I absolutely enjoy everything about it.
Yeah, it's super fun, and it's like something new. And I never really thought I would like find a community in this, but we definitely found our people, and like it's been super fun. Actually, we lived in the same town and went to the same high school.
What? That's crazy.
Wow.
Like 100% facts. And we just like never touched base or like got together. Like I think I remember one specific day where I opened Grindr, and it was him on Grindr, and he's like, come over right now. Like I was like, oh God. and I might have blocked him or something. So we didn't connect like until like, God, years later. But I found him again on Facebook. Like we knew who each other was, and I messaged him like every month for a long time.
He was very persistent.
Like probably like a year and a half, no cap. So,
it's so funny because offline I was asking you guys, who am I talking to? Because all of our correspondence has been through DMs and Instagram. And, you always wonder with a couple, like, who am I really talking to? And I think one of my other questions I'm going to jump to was two other OnlyFans, a couple that I know, Greg McKeon. And he was talking about working with his boyfriend and they produce content. He says that unlike his boyfriend wants more time with him, but he's the proactive one, always getting the content going. And it was interesting learning, Harley, that you're the one are you the more proactive one that getting your content going? Because I just want to learn more about working together.
Yeah, definitely. Like I'm just like kind of like creative and like I had like I would say like somewhat successful like porn blog on Tumblr before Tumblr like collapsed and became hot garbage. But yeah, so like I kind of knew the social media thing and I knew what it would take, and it's fun for me. It doesn't feel like work. So
he has a type A personality, so he's really good at getting our faces out there. Like he's got it down. So if anything, I just reel him in because he likes to open.
It takes a balance. It takes that balance,
yeah,
right?
It's all about balance, and that's like sometimes that's the hardest thing to find in this industry because it's so easy to do what we do, but it takes a lot out of you sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
to have your intimate moments too.
Yeah, so you got to find space for like what are you comfortable with sharing with the general populace, and then like what are you gonna keep for yourselves? So.
Nice.
Cody?
So I was actually looking at a lot of your content. I got very inspired by a lot of your content.
Me too. I was like, woo!
And one of my favorite videos of you guys is the Avengers orgy. Oh. How did you come up with that? And how do you come up with your content for your OnlyFans?
I think we came up with the Avengers orgy originally because we did a stream one day in like a Spider-Man outfit, and that was by far our biggest seller. That thing was asked for over a year afterwards.
Nice.
Yeah, we're still selling that video. Everyone loves it. So like we wanted to kind of like feed off of that. Like clearly superheroes and like that's a whole fetish in its own right. So
I have it, so I know.
I was totally willing to do it. And we had to. It was
so funny.
It was so much fun too.
Yeah, it was super fun.
We have a lot of fun when we do crazy different things like that.
Yeah.
Nice. So when is it?
Calculated things that you do, just you think about it and you're like, oh, that would be super hot. Like usually our content is just like what we would watch. So yeah.
Nice.
I'm there with
so
you.
When are the Joker and Harley, as like a play on your name, when are the Joker and Harley videos coming?
Ooh, Cody.
Actually, yeah. Do you want royalties on that idea, or?
I mean, I could be your manager. I take 20% though. So.
Okay, so clearly you guys have had success with OnlyFans and Chatterbait, which is really interactive. I think I want to know. We talk to a lot of people about studio porn stars going the other direction, where they've been porn stars and then they're going the other direction. Sounds like you went the OnlyFans Chatterbait direction. And are you liking that direction? And any ideas of ever going into studio porn, or are you just having more fun?
We actually did studio porn with Helix Studios.
Late last year we did a couple scenes with Helix Studios, and it was a nice time. Like they're a great studio, of course, but it's just not for us. I don't think it's not as intimate. It's not as real. Like one of the things I love about Chatterbait is you get on there, you set your goals, you set how your show's gonna go. You essentially just lay out how you're gonna have sex, and people just hate it, keep it going. And with a scene, it's all written out for you, and you're acting and. Then we sat in there for over 6 hours to film our scene.
Low key.
I mean,
I
for
hope they're
us,
not watching.
it's a couple, and it doesn't really take us that long to produce something decent, you know? So
Nice.
I can speak to that. I mean, definitely studio porn is like a different animal for sure. Like, yeah, it's interesting. We wanted to do it more so to just know what it's like and kind of learn from it. And I mean, they did offer us a considerable amount of money, so we were like, well,
it's worth it.
Okay, yeah, we kind of considered it like we're getting paid to advertise. Like that's going to be immortalized on their website, which is super popular for a long time. So just having our faces on there is kind of great.
Fabulous.
Cody, do you have another question?
That's all my questions right now.
Okay,
do you
well,
have another question?
I do actually. So, I mean, I think so. With that, creating your own content, that's got to be a lot of fun. One thing that a lot of my co-hosts have talked about is I have an OnlyFans. I don't have my OnlyFans, but I belong to a lot. And my other co-host talks about you can suggest things. Do you get fans on either ChatterBait or on OnlyFans asking content that they want to see you two perform?
Oh yeah.
And do you do it, or how? What's your threshold?
We absolutely have our limits. But yeah, if you want to push our boundaries, it might cost you a little more. But it's been a great like learning experience because we've been, you know, learning things about ourselves as we do some of these suggestions that maybe we wouldn't have even thought.
Yeah, we were like, oh, maybe I like that. Oh, I'm into that.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun to create our own stuff, and these suggestions, as wild as some of them are, have been a lot of fun to.
Yeah, so we do like
we
do like custom content. Like it is pretty spendy compared to most people because we're very busy. Like we're in the process of starting a business and all of our content, and we're working on a movie right now. And you know, so people are saying, you know, I'd like to see this, and then I hit them with like a price tag, and I like try to justify it, but like at the end of the day, we're running a business, and you know, nobody's ever really that butthurt about it. But yeah, we're open to suggestions, and sometimes I like the suggestion so much we just do it. So,
well, we noticed you have a movie coming out. We want you to talk about it in just a second. But before that, I want to ask you, with working together as a couple, did you guys have to create boundaries with people coming at you at OnlyFans and asking for that? You've said you've been together for 4 years. Jacob, you were talking about it. What's this key to keeping your relationship going with outside of the work?
I'd say like trust is like a really big thing. It's really big. You have to cherish it. I mean, if I didn't trust him, we'd have a lot of problems, especially with now having some roommates here that have been streaming with us occasionally. Like they're in our home. So if I didn't trust him to keep it to himself when it's not on camera, you know, it would be a bigger problem. But I think trust over anything is key. Yeah. And I feel like that's in any relationship, but in this industry,
for sure,
it's just a necessity.
Yeah, a lot of communication, a lot of words need to be said, and you know, you have to set your boundaries, and yeah, definitely trust for sure. I mean, we feel like we have a very healthy, successful relationship, and you know, we wish that upon anybody, and you know,
and we love to share it. That's part of the reason we like to do Chatterbait so much. Is like our fans have always admired that about us, and they're chatting with you the whole time, so the suggestions come in a lot there. But you develop relationships with these people, and you're like sharing a part of yourself and your love with those people as well. So it's inspiring to other people as well, and I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Greg, watching right now, says, "Hey, Jacob and Harley, love you guys." Just shout out to you guys over there. And we have to ask about you because we were looking at doing our research due diligence here, and we found that you are making a movie. What can you tell us about this movie, and what can we expect?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're in the process of storyboarding it right now, casting people for it. It's going to be kind of like a hentai vibe, like live action. We're hiring an animator to animate parts of the movie, kind of like hentai style. Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that mean? I don't understand.
So it'll be coming from live action to hentai to live action. It is an anime hentai.
So there's animation involved in it,
I
right?
love it.
Animated.
So
partially.
it'll be like almost like a dream state, and it'll be cutting in and out. It'll be really
nice.
It'll be a lot of fun to create.
Yeah, so it's
that
about
sounds hot.
a creative guy that shooting for a living, and it's kind of like he creates this world because he's really lonely and like single and socially awkward. So like he kind of teeters on this border of, is this real? Is this really happening? And the audience, whoever's watching it, is gonna have to discern what's real and what's not. And there's like a little twist at the end, and it's gonna be super exciting. And we're hoping to be one of the first independent porn films to win an award. So
wow,
fingers. We've invested a lot of time and money in this, and it'll be released on GayBN Stars exclusively.
We should also mention you guys have been nominated for GayVN Awards, and you actually have won GayVN Awards. Tell us about the awards that you have won.
Oh gosh.
So we won favorite camming couple with the GayVNs, and shortly before that, I won best cock with Fleshbot.
I didn't vote for it, but I would right now.
There it is.
I would vote for the couple. Yes.
We got nominated for an XBiz award or two. We've got nominated for an AVN award. We've got nominated for Chatterbait award, Pornhub award. I mean, we don't win them all, but
that we weren't able to actually attend these like we normally would.
But
Corona. You win in my heart.
One interesting question prior to the pandemic and everything being in lockdown, did you find any change in the work that you already do, or was a lot of your work already like at your home anyway, that you just business as usual?
It was majority business as usual. I mean, we weren't traveling and maybe bringing people in like we might have been before, but I'd say that when the pandemic hit, that was our biggest couple weeks at least, because everyone was at home, so we just streamed as much as we could, and they were all watching. We had big crowds and made big money.
Hey.
Can't beat that.
The pandemic and everything kind of helped us a little bit. It was kind of crazy, but it also felt really good to like hearing words of encouragement, people saying like, I'm so bored, and you guys like, I look forward to your show every day, and like all sorts of stuff. And it's the comments like that just kind of keep you going and fill you with purpose, and super fun.
Real quick, if people want to, are you still raising funds for the film, or is it already in production?
Yeah, so we are still raising funds for the film. We've used most of, not most of our own money, but we've used our own money on most of it. And any tips and things like that we get on GayBN Stars. So it's stars.gayBN.com/Jacob and Harley 1, the same as our Twitter. All tips go towards the movie on there, and we've been able to raise maybe about half of what we need to make the movie ourselves.
We will list this. Send me that link again, and we will list this on TAGSPodcast.com, because this show gets repackaged beginning tomorrow morning on all podcast platforms. So definitely, I'm really excited about this film. Jacob and Harley, I want to really thank you so much. You guys are adorable, sexy, hot, and fun. Yeah, so fun. Yeah. And we love what you're doing. Really cool. Thank you.
Yes, we love what you're doing too. I love you guys' message. I was like very taken aback. Just you tagged us, and I went to you, and I looked at all your stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're doing something really great here for the community. We're all about that. So.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right, we'll keep in contact with us. Let us know how it's going. We'll list everything on TAGSPodcast.com, and we'll talk to you real soon. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh my God, Cody, so fun.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, so adorable. All right, well, we got me too. We want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Follow us at Tags Podcast on all social media platforms. And by the way, we do an after show every single week. It's for our Tags Podcast VIP community. It's where if you just donate just a little bit here and there, it helps us keep going. It's at patreon.com/talk about gay sex. New after show comes out Friday night. Thank you, Cody Maurice Doggett. You can follow Cody at
Thank you, darling.
Mr. Maurice. And Cody's a life coach, so you can also follow him at KMD Coaching. KMD Coaching. Follow us at TAGSPodcast and continue wearing your mask and washing your hands for crying out loud, but keep it sexy. We'll talk to you soon.